Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing Ferrari, which is now out in cinemas around the world. Of course, directed by Michael Mann, starring Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari. I'm going to be giving some thoughts about it, having just seen it today. And as always, I do want to hear from you at home, so please do comment below with your thoughts on Ferrari. If you saw this after it's come out, if you saw it at any of the festivals it premiered at, I do want to hear your thoughts. It's been quite a divisive film. Everyone's going to have different approaches. There's going to be fans of motorsport, fans of Ferrari. There's going to be film fans, Michael Mann fans. So I'd imagine this is a film that goes down differently with different people, which kind of makes it more exciting to talk about, and a few other things. So I'm going to get into that. So as I said, comment your thoughts. If you like this video, please do like it. We're heading into Oscar season. We've just done all of our Christmas videos, so thank you to everybody that checked those out. But we're going to be getting into this award circuit. There's going to be videos in the Golden Globes, BAFTAs, Oscars, and many more over the next couple of months. And maybe this will be a film that crops up in a couple of those. Maybe. But I want to go over the social medias before I really give my thoughts. So go get us on linktree.com/cinemasavvy. It's the best place to find us. That has links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd accounts, where you can follow us on the varying websites alongside YouTube, and link to our Redbubble store where you can pick up any merch if you do want to help support the channel. But if I'm going to start talking Ferrari, I need to give some background to myself. People that watch a lot of our videos might get bored of me saying this, but I'm obviously a massive fan of Formula 1. I've covered Drive to Survive on this channel for as long as I've been able to cover it on this channel. Any documentaries that tend to pop up film-related stuff, film reviews on motorsport stuff, I do try and get to them. I can't sit there and say I know everything about all different kinds of motorsport. Not at all. But the ones I've got a vested interest in are obviously I've watched for many years before I was watching films properly. So that's a little bit of background for me. And kind of with this film, you know, I love Michael Mann. Heat's one of my favourite films ever made. It's got my favourite actor, Adam Driver, working with another auteur. So it's ticking these boxes. It's about Enzo Ferrari, which is... I don't believe in supporting teams in sport, if I'm being honest. I think you can root for teams, but with F1, certainly, I've never understood people that support a team. I think is that, except Ferrari. And this is the gravitas of what Ferrari as a brand would go on to be. And whenever I've been to races and listen, someone's going to come and say, I love Williams, I like Red Bull, I like McLaren. Fine. But from my background, maybe because of football, I've always thought you're following individual drivers and their career choices, and then the teams that you enjoy maybe come from that. Unless it's Ferrari. No bigger is driver than Ferrari. They never have been, they never will be. Some could almost be on par with them. Look at Michael Schumacher. You think of Ferrari, you can think of him. But I would never say he was bigger than he was at Ferrari. But he was the perfect driver for Ferrari. And that's just a little bit of some of the F1 stuff, I think. Whereas, look at today's drivers. Is Max Verstappen bigger than Red Bull? Yes, he could go to Ferrari tomorrow. He wouldn't be bigger than Ferrari. Vettel did the exact same thing. Hamilton, the biggest driver in F1 history, he wouldn't be bigger than Ferrari if he went there. So it's one of them where Ferrari's a really intriguing prospect. And when this film was announced, I was very curious, only because of the story. Now, for anyone that might not know the story of this is a biopic of sorts, but this is set in the summer of 1957, April/May 1957, if I'm being really honest. And it follows Ferrari as he's got issues with his personal life, with his wife and his mistress and second child, alongside covering from the death of his first son born, whilst the Ferrari branding is facing financial uncertainty. I'm going to use this to talk about Ford versus Ferrari, which is a complimentary double bill, to put it lightly. But it's hard not to think about Ford v Ferrari. Christian Bale, of course, was attached to this film many years ago. We'll end up going into that instead, which I think was actually a great decision by him. And again, me giving some thoughts heading into this film. I remember seeing some behind-the-scenes photos, and listen, Adam Driver's my favourite actor. I'll watch anything he's in. Point proven, 65. But I was really unsure about casting Adam Driver as Ferrari. I think of Ferrari, you look at the images of him, I'm not saying a performance isn't a replication, but I struggle to see, are they just putting a fat suit on him and putting a wig on him and there we go. And that's something, if I'm being bluntly honest about the film, is something I struggled with from the first moments through to the end. I never at any point looked at the performance and thought, this is Enzo Ferrari. I looked at it and thought it's Adam Driver in a wig and a fat suit, and it's really hard to shake that. And that's no criticism of his performance, actually. I think he's good in the film. I know people will then also talk about the Italians. Should there be an Italian actor? Should it be authentic? Should it be an Italian film? To which I sort of agree. But then you also go look at the behind the scenes of this film, that Michael Mann, no one would touch this film until Drive to Survive became a big thing. He's openly said this in interviews. This is a $95 million film. And the racing isn't the key. In an Enzo Ferrari film, the racing isn't the most important part of a Ferrari film. And that's a very tough sell to anyone that's going to fund a Ferrari film, no matter what country and no matter what you're doing. And I know that Drive to Survive for better or worse, has brought in a new audience into Formula One. Certainly, it's done well with revenue, although obviously 2023 has been one of the biggest drop-offs in F1 history with viewing audiences, with engagement, and many of modern sort of things. We'll get more details in the next couple of months, but this was obviously greenlit before 2023, before I'd say 2022. I think this is very much a 2021 F1 type thing. We've got a big film coming out, probably not going to be next year now, but we've obviously got the Apple Brad Pitt film. And again, F1 is in the public eye, and Hollywood will follow and start making more of these projects. Had the incredible film Rush, based on the 1976 season, a couple of years ago now, or 10 years ago now actually, which is one of my favourite films of all time. So you can do it. And as a fan of film and a fan of F1, I will watch any project they want to make like this. It's interesting to me, and I'm curious to see what filmmakers can do with respect to the filmmaking process, what they can do with races, what they can do with drama, stories, so much more. So the idea for a Ferrari film, was interesting. Now, I've not read the book, the biography this is based off, and if I'm being really honest, another big issue of this film, and it's not really the film's fault, it's obviously an intentional choice, is condensing the life of Enzo Ferrari down to this integral month in 1957. Yes, it's a massive part of what the company would go on to do. And I'm not saying I needed a 10-hour extravaganza from the moment he was born through to the end, no. But I feel that this film is missing some really important things to work as a definitive Ferrari film. And that's then epitomised by, I actually believe, the American production cycle of it. Again, going to the Adam Driver, would I rather have had an Italian actor speaking in Italian? Yes, but again, Hollywood's not going to fund $100 million film, are they, without well-known actors or directors, etc. So it's a really tricky one talking about this, if I'm being honest. And I know I haven't really spoken about the film as such, but I'm going to also jump in and say, I think with Ferrari's life, and what people would not want from a Ferrari film, because you as the audience, it's not about what you want, it's about how you engage and react to the picture on screen, what you're watching. I don't know if this is the film that should be marketed as like Ferrari, like his life, his character, what he did. I don't think this is that film. And I think that's where I struggle with it, is that trying to look at it from a film perspective. I mean, let's say I'm talking to the F1 fan. I don't think this is reflective of what a Ferrari biopic should be. And again, I've not read the biography it's based on, but I imagine that biography is going to be, again, a lot more than May 57. So it's a really tricky thing trying to shake in my head, because to me it's the wrong approach for me having that towards a film. And obviously the reaction at the BFI London Film Festival was very negative, but its reaction in America has been very positive. So there's been little things drawing me in. And now I start talking from a film perspective, I'm really torn on the film, because there's some things I really enjoy. The driving sequences, the race towards the end. I like those sequences. I like how they're edited, how they're shot. But then you have other things that come on board, like the visual effects, where played in the trailers there are certain crashes and it looks really bad in camera in motion. And again, I understand you're not going to do that for real. Obviously, we know back in for most of F1's history, crashes were fatal, if not fatal, like life-altering injuries. So it's really hard to put that on a camera. But I just think, again, there's something missing with this. And for the real-life side of it, there are certain things which I not necessarily didn't agree with, but I think the juxtaposition in tones can come across quite wrong. Where there are some triumphant moments and there's some sad moments, and then sometimes they're 3 seconds apart. I know it's a terrible comparison. I always go back to a criticism of The Phantom Menace, where you've got this sad funeral scene at the end of Qui-Gon Jinn, and then it's like, here comes the parade 5 seconds later, like the whiplash effect of the alternating of tone. It's not as bad in this. I don't mind it in Star Wars, if I'm being honest, but it's something where I just thought was, okay. And again, when you're looking at the legacy of Ferrari, it doesn't really go on to talk about other things. I like the politics. Now, again, Ford v Ferrari can get brought up. That deals with the fallout of Ferrari needing financial help and ending up going to Fiat, screwing over Ford for them to enter basically out of arrogance with how the film presented it. And in this case of it, we don't get any of that. But I wish we had more about Ferrari, the company, about what they were doing, the business deals, because I really enjoyed the dynamic of Adam Driver, Penelope Cruz, and I think that she's by far the best actress in the film. Best performance in the film, sorry, not best actress. And every scene she's in, she steals it, and she's head and shoulders above the others. And that's then a struggle. I've got no problem with Shailene Woodley, she's not in it a lot. The supporting cast are fine in other roles. Some don't have a lot to do, some have some to do, but it's a really tricky one that, aside from her, no performance sticks with me, makes me think about it. And again, the gravitas of the situation, I don't think is felt with some performances, and I actually think that's a limitation by having Americans doing Italian accents. Obviously not in the case of that I pointed out, which is the best one, and obviously she's not Italian, but there's something that jumps into that English is the second language, which I think brings something else out from that performance. I don't even know if that makes sense now I've said that out loud, but that's something I'm sort of wrestling with. Is I look at a Ferrari film and what could have been, and from an F1 fan, what should have been, and I don't think this is it. And it's a shame because I love Michael Mann. I mentioned my love for Heat. He's done so many great films. I was so excited for his comeback. He spent years trying to get this film made, which I really respect. It's been a passion project of his. And there's some things I can see that artistic value in, that he's chosen to direct it in this way, in a certain style, with certain characters and whatnot. And it just left me a bit cold. And I'm kind of in the middle of this because I don't... If someone randomly said to me in the street, like, would you recommend Ferrari? I'm sort of frozen at the prospect, like, people said, is it good? I'm like, I don't think it's good, but I also don't think it's bad. I don't want to say it's disappointing because I didn't have high expectations, but should I have had high expectations? And I look at Ferrari, the brand, look at them aside from sport, the knowledge of Ferrari. Every single person knows what Ferrari is. Every single person knows the badge. They know the colours. They know them in Formula One. They know about them. And in my head, that arrogance has to be in the film too, right? It should be not like the be-all and end-all of sports films, but you know what? Maybe it should be now to that loud, because what Ferrari is valued at as a car company, as a Formula One entity, as a racing entity, aside from F1, their public eye, this should be the pinnacle. And I'm saying that, yes, they should be the pinnacle, and this film should be better. And again, if you're going off a biography book, the possibilities are endless. And I know it's easy these days to talk about films, talk about TV. I don't think you can condense Enzo Ferrari's life into a film. I don't think you can. I don't even want a long film, 3 hours. Definitely not a Zack Snyder type thing, but you could do a limited series. You could do an authentic series. You could have Italian actors. It could be on a streaming service such as Apple. I think other companies would have put up the money for this to be done in a different way, but Michael Mann's a director and he wants to direct films. So it's a really tricky one for me because, again, I can't even talk about the cinema experience. Again, it sounded great on the car scenes, but when it's a drama, it's obviously set in smaller houses or locations or buildings. But again, there's an audience of 9 people. Yes, it's Boxing Day and it was early. Don't expect it to be busy. But I'm just somewhat in a shell with it. Like, I just don't know what to make of this film. As I said, it's not good, it's not bad. It just sort of exists, and that's where it's going to be. Am I going to rush back to see it again? Probably not. Am I going to go watch Ford v Ferrari again? Yes, it really makes me want to watch that again. It's an unbelievable film, which I can recommend. So it's tricky because it's also hard not to talk about Ford v Ferrari. And I know it's Le Mans 66 in the UK. Ridiculous, but we understand why. But it's just one of them where the legacy of Ferrari is the title. The Enzo Ferrari film should be a lot more. It should be so much more. And again, I mentioned maybe Adam Driver's maybe miscast. He's my favourite actor. He's playing someone decades older than what he is, and he doesn't look like he's in his late 50s. And yes, there's some makeup, there's a wig, and I understand you don't want to do that to an actor, to put them in makeup. You know, Maestro's come out, Bradley Cooper, and there are moments where he's aged up, and it kind of works. You see Bernstein, you see Bradley Cooper, but then at times that film feels like an impersonation of real footage, like Freddie Mercury for Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, I appreciate that Adam Driver's actually having a performance in this film, so it's a really tricky one to think about, and it's a weird way to do a review if I'm being honest. But that is my thoughts on Ferrari. It's not one to rush to go see at the big screen. There's plenty of other films out. This will end up, it's going to be on Sky in the UK in the next couple of months. I know May December's on there as well at the moment, and they have had some limited rollouts. It's great to see this getting a wide release, but when I think of Ferrari, I've got higher standards, and it should be the same for filmmaking with Ferrari. I'm curious to read up some more behind the scenes about how the rights came to be if Ferrari were involved. I know that Adam Driver was at the American Grand Prix practice last month, so it's one of them where I need to do a bit of digging myself because I'm not too sure what to make of it all. But yeah, it's a weird negative review post-Christmas, isn't it? It's a weird film to watch on Boxing Day. I know it's Oscar season, but I don't think this is going to be getting nominated for much. Maybe a couple of sneaks in sound and a couple of other little things, but aside from that, nothing really. There's plenty of other good motorsport films to watch. But that's I'm going to outro this. If you're a fan of motorsport, if you've seen this film, comment your thoughts. If you're a film fan, you know nothing about the real life stuff, also comment your thoughts, because it's always weird being in that sort of crossover when I'm doing stuff like this, bringing like personal hobbies into this sort of thing. It's very different, and it makes it much harder to approach these. But again, I hope my perspective is somewhat fair on the film, and I'd be curious to know what people think. So that's going to do it for this review. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you to everyone that's watched not just this video, videos across the year and other years. We've just hit a massive milestone on the channel. We've just covered 900,000 views, which is quite a scary concept. And we're obviously planning for the new year and beyond. So once again, thank you for all your support. I hope you had a lovely Christmas, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.